Well, hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's a Talktown special, and the headline from Steve this week is Town create a fairy tale at the New York to give Brent a Christmas miracle. And I don't know about you, Oliver, but it's frozen on my screen, so I'll come to you first and say, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm very well. Sorry for I haven't been on the podcast for a while. There's been quite busy down south in the Falklands, but yeah, it's sunny, it's shining, and like I say, it's a Sunday afternoon. So yeah, looking forward to being on the podcast and talking about Huddersfield Town for the next hour.
Well, it's not been very sunny around here, my friend. It's it was awful today earlier. I mean, I've been out and about a little bit, and then pretty grim up here. We're certainly ready for our Christmas, nice and foggy as well. Steve, we're going to try you. You are frozen, but Steve,
Hello.
let's see if we can hear you. Oh, we can hear you. How are you?
Oh, we can. There we go.
I'm all good, chaps. I'm all good. I don't know why I'm frozen because I can hear you brilliantly. My laptop's just deciding to have an absolute moment. But yeah, all good, boys. Ready for the Christmas period, and it was great that we got 3 points on Saturday, obviously. But yeah, I wanted to be a bit Christmassy. Came with the title. I was thinking about that for many hours.
Yeah, I can imagine, mate. I can imagine. Got some comments in already. I got one from John, Michael, and Jed. So we'll be coming on to them ones at some point very shortly. I do believe Cal will be joining us as well at some point. But let's get straight into it. Rotherham United 1, Huddersfield Town 3. Steve, were we expecting it?
No, we weren't. To be honest, because on the last podcast we were kind of thinking that it was going to be a dark day and a loss, but it ended up not being that at all. It was a very happy afternoon, to be honest. So not expecting it at all. I know we normally go through the lineup, and to be honest, I wasn't expecting it from the lineup either. So no, very very happy and surprised. It was a Christmas miracle.
Christmas, okay then, Steve. So yeah, we do usually go through the lineup, and as you mentioned, it was a bit of a different one again. So we're still looking at the 5 at the back at the moment, 3 in midfield, and the 2 up front. Nichols was in goal. Rowan and Gooch are 2 wing backs. Wallace, Lowe, Balker at the 3 centre halves. Ledson, Harness, and Castledine in and around that midfield 3. Radalovic and Alfie May were the 2 strikers. Oliver, when that lineup came out, you saw it. What did you think?
Yeah, 5 at the back. I thought that was quite solid back defence, and I thought maybe we might be able to dominate in the midfield with our midfielders there. But I just wanted to, because I wasn't here in the podcast last time, and obviously Stephen said that there was they weren't expecting to win. I thought we were. I thought this was the chance to sort of battle back, because again there was pressure on Lee Grant and people were actually having conversations about him leaving or whatever, but the mood had to shift, didn't it? And the players had to get a response, because going into Christmas having a loss is not great. So I found it it was incredible for the team, and they seem to have really gelled a bit against Rotherham. Whether that's Rotherham let us play properly, I don't know, but like I say, we seem to really gel in the middle of the field. And Alfie May, he played incredible as well. He was always up and around in the goaling area. But yeah, I don't know. I did think we had to get a win. We had to get that win to relieve a bit of pressure. And now in a media spin, we're now we're unbeaten in 3. So that's not too bad, is it?
So unbeaten in 3. Steve, have you got that same kind of feel about it at the moment? This is just before we go into the game itself. Is that the kind of you've got now?
I always love Oliver because he's the most positive person on the entire planet, and he must be the most positive person definitely on the Falklands. I'm happy with yesterday. I'm happy that we're unbeaten in 3, having given 2 absolutely abysmal performances before the Rotherham game. Nah, I'm not right. I'm not that happy, but I'm happy from yesterday, yes.
Okay, fair enough. That's always good to know. So, what did Steve? Did you watch the game? What did we make of the start of it? I did feel as if that Rotherham seemed to be the side on top, the side that wanted to go and win it.
Yeah, I did. But I watched the whole of it, and I listened to a lot of the reaction afterwards. Yeah, as you say, Kane, it was quite sort of like I thought it was a crap opening 10 minutes, to be honest, from both sides. I mean, I weren't that impressed with Rotherham. They did put a bit of pressure on, and their main tactic was definitely getting it up to Hugel to hold up top to bring the two wing lads in that they had, who I actually thought probably were the best players on the day. Certainly that number 11, that I forget his name, but he was probably their best player, to be honest. Always sort of like creating. But yeah, we were slow off the blocks, but we felt us way into the game, and I think once we'd kind of got an idea what Rotherham were going to do, we sort of started to neutralise that threat really, and became a lot more positive in the first half. As the half went on, we started to get stronger, and I actually thought Rotherham got weaker. And you can only praise our lads for sort of like capitalising on that.
Oliver, do you think the disallowed goal for Rotherham maybe was a bit of a wake-up call for Town in that that opening section of the game, and it was a bit of a hold on a minute, we really need to sort ourselves out?
Absolutely. I mean, we got a reaction, fortunately, but imagine if that actually went in, and people were moaning and groaning. I was obviously watching it, and imagine if it actually was countered. Then we're like, oh, here we go again. We're going to have another, as Steve said, maybe a bit of a poor performance. But again, we had that reaction, which Huddersfield capitalised, and we got the reaction, and we managed to get 3 pretty decent goals, to be honest with you. Forward running play, came from strong off the ball work. So, yeah, I mean, I think that did maybe give him a shake-up that not just Huddersfield needed, but Lee Grant needed as well, and the players, and the link-up play was just, I thought it was brilliant. We managed to get it right against Rotherham.
Yeah, certainly there's, it was one that Lee Grant definitely needed there, Oliver. Okay, let's go to the first goal. And it was one where Gooch and Radulovic both played a massive part in it, as they did in the second. But first of all, Radulovic, beautiful hold-up play, holds his pass, and then a great third-man run by Gooch, who was playing that wing-back role, comes through the middle and just taps it in, Steve. Just taps it in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good sort of like move from back to front, because obviously Leo Castledine was involved in it as well. He started the move by making the tackle, and that got us away. And I think, listen, you have to give massive credit to Bojan, because he held the ball up really well. I mean, he really turned I think it was their centre back inside out, really. And then it was a perfect ball that he laid off. He couldn't have got the sort of the hardness of the ball any more perfect, and it just gave Gooch enough to get a good finish, and it was a really good finish as well. I mean, and the other thing is when they scored, you could see how much it meant to the players. I mean, it was quite interesting, the commentary I was listening to, that they made it was Radio Leeds, and they made the sort of like comment of because he was at fault for the Wigan goal the game previously, that he was really up for making amends in this game yesterday, and you could definitely see that, and that started off really well in the first goal. I thought it was an excellent work goal, and yeah, Rotherham just couldn't deal with it. They couldn't deal with Bojan running in behind, first of all, which we haven't seen him do a lot. But then his hold-up player, which we have talked about, is one of his better skill sets. And then it was nice to see. I'd say I'm in the definite fan club of Lyndon Gooch, such as you are, Kane, with Bojan, to be fair. So both of our favourite players there making certainly an effort to get the first goal, which was great to see.
Yeah, it was lovely weight on the ball from Radulovic to giving it to Gooch. Oliver, on the goal as well, there was a couple more options for Radulovic. I think he had a man on the outside left, which he could have played down the line towards the byline. He could have taken a shot. He could have chipped it towards the end, he picked out the right one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he had to get on target, and at least, as we said, get that reaction, didn't he? But yeah, he had options. He had a go, and just manages to get it to Gooch, and then Gooch had a chance on goal, and which is what we needed, really, wasn't it? Not this faffing around early on in the game. Let's get a shot on. Let's test the keeper out. Let's get straight in there, and Gooch did that, and we managed to go 1-0 up and at least be leading by 1 goal straight away.
Yeah, I've got some comments coming in from Jed and Dale. We're gonna put them up after we spoke about these other couple of goals, and then we can start talking about what you guys have said as well in the comments. So thank you very much for them. The second one, Oliver Gooch with a bit of a maybe / clearance / aiming for a big direct ball towards Alfie May, who misses it, and then again it falls to Radulovic, and what a finish that is! That is one superb chip. I've spoke about Bojan a lot, in terms of his footwork and stuff like this. We call it soft feet, and it was just a perfect little touch from him to chip it over the goalkeeper. He was in no man's land, and thank you very much. And Steve mentioned about the reaction to the first goal. The reaction to the second was just as good as well.
I mean, absolutely. That second goal was one of my goals of the season, and I'll tell you why. Because it's straight away, quick, straight from our own half, off you go. And then the confidence that Bojan had to chip it over the goalkeeper. I mean, that was, dead and buried the game. You know what I mean? It was usually, to have to chip that, you have to have some sort of confidence to be able to even attempt something like that. Because if you would have missed, and then at that time, that Huddersfield are playing with a bit of confidence in the step, and it was like I say, it was a quick counter attack, quick straight away. Again, Alfie May, did he leave it on purpose? Did it? Who knows? Was it a mistake, as you say? But yeah, brilliant goal. So,
Steve, what were your thoughts on that second one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure about Alfie May leaving it. Let's go that he tactically did. Yes, let's go that it was clever centre forward play, knew where his mate was. I agree with Oliver. It has to go down as one of the better goals this season. I don't think it quite beats Leo's 3 other goals, to be honest, but because he's in a league of his own, as it were. But it was a great finish, and as you say, came with them soft feet that he has. It was the perfect type of finish. You see players a lot of the time get that sort of half chip sort of volley kind of wrong. They put too much on the ball. They don't get. Sometimes they rush it and then they don't get enough, and it's an easy catch for the keeper. But he absolutely got it perfect, and you could definitely see what it meant to him. As with every time Bojan scores, to be honest, he does about 19 different celebrations at once. He does need to pick one. I'd like him to see him pick one, but it doesn't matter. And you could see the delight on the subs' faces as well. And yeah, it just meant that we had a little cushion. I wanted us to then go on and get a third and a fourth, because I really thought at that point Town were dominating, not just possession, but being really physical with Rotherham. They didn't like it. They didn't look up for it. You could tell at that point the crowd were getting on the backs because they were misplacing passes, a lot like the atmosphere that was the Wigan game. And so, Town capitalised on that, and we made sure that we put Rotherham to the sword, and that was great to see. A lot like what we did to Mansfield a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it certainly had that kind of performance where when Lee Grant was nominated for the Manager of the Month because of them performances, that was the kind of performance that Town have been looking at. Okay, we'll come back onto the performance as a whole. We'll come on to the comments as well. And then Castledine, another good goal from him. And Steve, for me, the thing that made the goal was he tracked back, made a sliding tackle just before the halfway line to win the ball back for Town. That wasn't good enough for him, got himself in the box and bags Town's third.
Yeah, well, it was a lot like the first goal in the sense that Leo won the ball and Town went on to go score from that. And that was exactly the case for his own goal. Like you say, he wasn't just happy about making the tackle. He wanted to get in that forward area into the box. And it was a peach of a ball from Linden, wasn't it? Let's be honest. And we've talked probably in the last, ever since we've been doing this podcast, about 2 years now, about getting more balls into the box and then width sort of crosses for people to get on the end of, and that's what that was. And it was a good header, great header. It meant that Town had 3 goals. We know we love 3-1 scoreline, so of course Rotherham were going to score eventually. But it was at that moment a fantastic feeling for not just the squad, the players. It must have been a great feeling for Lee Grant, but also the 1,800 fans that were sat there at the New York Stadium too, because we haven't had much to cheer this season so far in terms of actual first half quality performances. Mansfield, of course, was one, and this was another occasion where we were really putting on a show, and I think putting a bit of a marker down, saying, look, everybody's sort of like saying how rubbish we are at the moment, and even we've talked about it on here. But you have to give the players great credit. Everybody in that first half, particularly, I thought was an 8 or 9 out of 10.
And Oliver, when Castledine scores a third, even from the Falcons, is it a bit of a what's happening here? We can't believe it.
Well, absolutely. It's in the first half as well. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy going into the break and then we're 3-0 up. That's quite rare for a Huddersfield Town fan to say, isn't it? And I don't mind saying that as a Huddersfield Town fan. But yeah, I mean, good play. But one thing to add, though, the 3 goals are all from different players. So, you know what I mean? That just shows a kind of a link-up play that we've got, not just one person, one player effort. It's been a team effort there. Again, what we mentioned earlier, we could have been lucky that the goal was disallowed. We were lucky that the goal was disallowed. So it kind of still allowed us to be in the game. But yeah, 3-0 going into the break. You know, there's happy days. You can't complain much about that, can you? And again, I agree with Steve. We should have gone 4, 5, 6. But at the end of the day, I'll take a win over that anyway. So, but yeah, 3-0 is good to go into the break.
So what did we make of the formation as well? Because it was the 5 at the back, then the 3 in the midfield and the 2 up top. But at some points during that game, certainly in the first half, I felt as if Castledine was maybe through the middle, but then it kind of changed like to a 5-2-3 just to put that bit more pressure on. Did you see it like that, Oliver? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I mean, again, the wing backs are there to press the ball, to move forward, to get, we don't sit back with 5, otherwise we're never going to get there. So that's the whole point, in to stretch the line. And we seem to, like I say, Alfie May was running around left, right, and centre. He was always, he was definitely causing trouble for Rotherham. But yeah, I think the fact that we had 5-3-2, and we had the wing backs that were pushing forward as well, I think that really helped our formation. But at the end of the day, we've had this formation before, but it hasn't worked with other teams. So does that mean that Rotherham let us play a bit and it worked to our advantage? Definitely. But, it worked against Rotherham. I mean, will it work for other teams? Who knows? But I really liked, when I was watching the game, I really liked the link-up play that we had with different players, and the fact that the ball was moving forward. That was important, because traditionally, sometimes Huddersfield Town games, we end up going back and end up losing the ball, but we're moving forward now, so that's good.
It's always key going forward. Steve, what did you make of the formation, and did you see that change as well with Castledine being in the middle of the park and here and everywhere, and then moving to the left wing at times?
Yeah, well, we've said before, haven't we? We don't really want Leo on the wing, do we? He's not a natural winger. We want him in the centre of the field where he can create chances, he can buzz about, he can do not just really a number 10 role, because I think he's got the energy, even if according to Lee Grant he can only do it for 60 minutes. He's got the energy to really be all over the place. And yeah, I saw him through the middle at times, and you saw like Bojan and Alfie split. And sometimes he would go over to that left side. It depended where the ball was and where we needed to press. The thing about the 5 at the back, though, is that it wasn't what we were doing at Northampton, where we all sat back and thought, oh, bloody hell, it's Northampton away. We better sit back here, boys. It's going to be an hard afternoon or evening. We thought we're going to have a go here at Rotherham. And so even though it was a 5 at the back, the wing-backs did push up. You did see Gooch obviously get forward, because we spoke about his instrumental period within the game. But on the other side as well, we pushed from the other side, and I think that was quite evident that we didn't just sit back. Rotherham then, I think that's why they went into the shell a little bit after that first 10 minutes, because they didn't really know how to handle us. I mean, their defence was quite chaotic if you look at it from a tactical point of view, and I think that's why Bojan and Alfie got a lot of indecent positions. I mean, sadly, Alfie May was offside 19 out of 20 times. I mean, he does need to look across the line, but fair play to him. Again, he did make the effort. I mean, we've been crying out, haven't we, for weeks to put Bojan and Alfie together, and suddenly Lee Grant has decided to do it at the very last moment. So it's probably his Alex Ferguson moment was Saturday. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that moment. We might have to come back to it. Right, I think it's time to look through some of these comments before we talk about Rotherham and the second half. John says, I think LG might have at last have found the right pair in May and Radulovic to lead the Terrors attacking line. Michael says, nice 3-1 win against a very poor Rotherham team. 3 good goals. Grant still in job for the time being, still unconvinced by his team selection, tactics and performance. Only papers over the cracks. Jed, season's green boys from somewhere in foggy Huddersfield, a white Xmas. Might be, Jed, might be, but I can't see it happening, can you? Unless that fog turns a little bit white. Certainly was, how good was Bojan? Certainly had a great game for me as well, I thought as well. Dale, I prefer Rowan at left centre-back in a 3, but it was nice to see Alfie and Bojan partnering up front at last. Jed again said Bojan looked classed. Soft beat, but he has toughened up. Yeah, would certainly have to agree with that one as well. And it's not been too often this season, boys, but when we have performed in the first half, we've gone on to win. Yeah, first half performance. What did we make of Rotherham? Because, Oliver, I thought they were dreadful.
Well, I mean, they haven't won. Again, I don't know the statistic, but they haven't won in a while, have they? They haven't. So they're in a bit of a poor run of form. Were they dreadful? I mean, they're still dangerous. They've still got potential to win the game. But I just think it was testament to how Huddersfield played. I think we played incredibly well. To make, we were allowed to play with freedom. We were allowed to move around the ball. We were allowed to go forward. Some teams have been able to contain us before. Did I say Rotherham were dreadful? I think they weren't the best I've ever seen. I'll put it that way. But yeah, I think it was more a case of Huddersfield being actually pretty decent this time and getting that reaction that we needed before Christmas. And fortunately, Rotherham did allow us to play, because the first 10 minutes, as I say, they got a goal. It was disallowed, granted. They were there, but for some odd reason, or for a good reason, Huddersfield reacted back and manages to put them in the shell, as Stephen says. So, but yeah, I didn't think they would. I think Huddersfield played better, put it that way. I think that's probably the best way of putting it.
Steve?
Rotherham were crap. Let's be honest, they were crap.
Right? It's like your catchphrase now, this. Every team, oh yeah, they're crap. Oh, well, that's Cardiff, yeah, they're crap. Crap. Wimbledon, crap. Wigan, crap.
No,
they got to go back. Sorry.
Cardiff were all right. They're a good football team of Cardiff. Let's have that right. Not every team is crap, but Rotherham were crap. They weren't as crap as Exeter. I thought Exeter are the worst team we've played all year, to be honest, and we only won it 1-0, and that was due to Leo's unbelievable goal. That was when we had 23 shots on target in the first half. I mean, blooming heck, those 3 could have played against Exeter that day. That's how poor they were. But Rotherham were poor. I think, like Oliver said, he does make a good point that I think it's because we played well. We did play well, and we put them to the sword. The disallowed goal, is it disputable? I think he pushed him. So for me, it was the correct decision. I think in terms of them as a team, what they're missing really is 2 or 3 quality players. I mean, they've got Hugo, but he's like 90 odd. You know, he don't move around right much, does he? They play the ball up to him, and he's always been a nasty big meat. He reminds me a lot of Alan Lee. He really does. He's like 6'4". He just loves to elbow people in the head, and he's just a nasty centre forward, and he winds defenders up. And I thought when I saw the lineup, I was a bit worried about Bolker, because I think obviously Bolker, we know he's really good on the ball. He's technically probably the best centre back in the league. His passing is very, very good, especially for this level. But sometimes he does get out muscled. And I thought the thing that happened on Saturday is Hugo went to try against Joe Lowe, didn't get any out of Joe Lowe, who I thought probably had his best performance in the Town shirt, let's be honest. Apart from maybe Leighton Orient on the first day of the season. He then went across to Murray Wallace, and Murray just looked at him and went, "Nah, mate, I've played at championship level. You aren't getting out past me today." And then he stepped onto Balkan, and Radinho did his thing and made sure that he didn't get past him. So, yeah, Oliver's right. They do have threats. We neutralised them threats, and they were about as good as a jam sandwich in the rain. So, for me, we put them away. We put them to the sword. We got 3 points. That's what we needed to do.
Can I just add in there, sorry, Kit, just to say about the jam sandwich thing. Rotherham still scored. They ended up still getting a goal in the last minute, and we had 5 defenders on them. You know what I mean? They were dangerous towards the end.
That's why I said it was a jam sandwich, Oliver. It wasn't like 2 pieces of bread in the rain. It was a jam sandwich.
Yeah, fair enough. Sorry, I needed to clarify that one. Yeah, but you know, the thing is with like, you know, Rotherham, we beat them 3-1, etc. There are teams out there. Every team's going to beat us. You know, if we're not on our A game, and Huddersfield yesterday we're on our A game, and we managed to get that win. That's what I wanted to kind of mention.
Okay, well, you mentioned the 3-1. Town did concede. Is that an A game when conceding, when you're in control so much?
It's Town.
Okay.
That's back to you, Oliver.
Back to me. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean,
I'd go B minus, maybe.
3-0 before the first half. Again, is that the time to sit back? No, we needed to get 3. I would have preferred 4, 5, 6, 7 if I could. But yeah, I mean, the defending, it still shows that it wasn't perfect in our defensive line. Whether it was a lack of concentration, there was at least 5 defenders behind him, you know, in front of the Rotherham player. That I forgot his name, the Rotherham player, but 5 defenders, and he still got a shot away and scored. That's not good enough. You know, but again, we were 3-0. The goal was too late. But again, it shows that thing. First 10 minutes, we concede that disallowed goal or whatever that was. And then the last 10 minutes, you know, Rotherham were allowed to play a bit.
So, Steve, is that down to a lack of concentration or fluidity? Is, you know, what could be the reasoning behind that?
It's called Huddersfield Town being Huddersfield Town, and we can't see a game out, and we haven't been able to for about 8 years, probably since about Carlos was in charge. No, I think, listen, Sam Nombe is probably their best player. Obviously didn't start the game. I think he's had an injury, so he came on. You could see he was quite lively, running in behind. I mean, he's the sort of centre forward I quite like, to be honest. I mean, he probably doesn't score enough goals, but that's probably because Rotherham are a crap team. And if they had a bit of quality putting the ball in the box and he hadn't been injured for so long, he probably would have more goals. He did last season. So yeah, it's lack of concentration. Didn't get towards his man. You could see how peed off Lee Nichols was, put it that way, when it went in. And that would have just been the perfect icing on the cake to get that clean sheet. It wasn't to be. But listen, if that's the only thing that we've got to sort of moan about on what has been a good weekend for Town, let's take it, and let's just hope that we don't fall flat on his face against Darren Moore, which I know we'll come on to against Port Vale on Boxing Day.
Exactly, Steve. Let's take the 3 points. A clean sheet would have been better, but again, at least Town have scored 3 and taken 3 points home with them. Yeah, great to see a good crowd as well down at the New York. John says, why has it taken Grant so long to see that Bojan and May could be the best options up front when some of us fans have been saying that for ages. Dave says, for Ashia, should have been brought on in the second half and not the last 5 like last week. Joe looked like Bobby Moore, says Jed. Dale, when we have a great first half, it's all well and good, but what we need to see now is Lee Grant make a proactive sub when we're drawing and turn them into a win. Until then, I'll still be unconvinced with him. Jed again says the league is wide open now. The league is wide open. Now is the time to go on a 16 unbeaten run now. Okay. This is where it gets a little bit complicated, doesn't it? Or does it, Steve? Because, last few weeks you've not been too happy with the manager. It's a good performance.
Really?
I know, surprising, isn't it? I think the words more than likely crap have come out of your mouth.
Could have been something else, Kim, but I kept it PG.
Where you're at now, what are your thoughts?
What's the saying? One swallow doesn't make a song. I think I've got that correct. I mean, we about a month or so ago, we beat Mansfield twice and we beat Plymouth, and we thought, here we go. And then we tip up against Wimbledon. We put in a shocking display in. We tip up at Northampton, put a shocking display in. So obviously we've got 2 home games coming up now against Port Vale and against Northampton. And you would really like to think that we could go on the front foot, be at home, have some confidence. The lads have had a good game, good weekend. Fans are happy. Lee Grant should take a lot of praise out of it because obviously his job, I think, was on the line. If we'd have lost at Rotherham, he'd have been gone. I think you could tell that in his press conference before the game. I mean, it's the most down I've seen him. So he's got to back it up. The players have got to back it up now in these next 2 home games. Where I'm at, he's got a reprieve, hasn't he? Do I think he's still the right man? No. Long term, am I happy to give him again another opportunity? Yes, so he's going to get that anyway. But he's got to back it up in these next 2 games. Got to get 6 points because, was it Jed? I think Jed said the league is now wide open. I mean, we're only 6 points behind second, I think, or third. We're 6 points behind Bradford, who drops into third. So with 6 points in such a close period of time, not all them clubs above us are going to get 6 points. You just watch it happen now. That shouldn't happen. So in some senses, we have got a real opportunity in these next 2 games to really close a gap on some teams, and he's got to take this opportunity.
So if you don't take, so you're basically saying now it's a game by game.
But next 2 games, give him the next 2 games, but he's got to get 6 points. Got to get 6 points.
Oliver, I know you were quite happy to just stick with Mr. Lee Grant anyway. Obviously, we're not sports here for a week or 2 when it was all about change. How are you feeling on it from your point of view, your side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Steve here. These 2 games, Port Vale and Northampton, and this is your clip that you can clip for it, are definitely League One standard teams. So if we're ever going to think of getting out of this league, we have to be beating Northampton and Port Vale. But however, that doesn't mean that we are entitled to a victory. They still have to put their work and the effort in to get there. At the moment, obviously, there was a lot of pressure on Lee Grant for Rotherham. Does that mean that we've won? Is that pressure now released a bit? It shouldn't be. We should still carry on for Port Vale and Northampton and finish the year on a high. We do have, like I say, a new director of football now. So again, the January transfer window reopens, and hopefully Lee Grant will be able to get some new players that he needs to fill out the season. And again, the league is really close. I am happy we're still in the conversation of playoffs. Are we going to walk the league? No, that's probably Cardiff's remit. but at least we're still lingering in the playoff areas. We're, as you say, 6 points away from third. Can we nick it? I think we can. Yesterday proved that we can get there. We beat Rotherham. Like I say, it was a really good performance. We have had good performances. As Steve said, we have had some pretty lackluster performances as well. So it's been kind of inconsistent. But again, now this is Lee Grant's first job. You've got to admit that it's his first role in professional management, and he's doing okay. But Huddersfield, we have high expectations. We should be out of this league. But yeah, I think still keep him in. Of course, he's doing all right. But yeah, as Steve says, he has to win these next 2 games, surely.
Okay, God, I hope there's no Port Vale or Northampton fans on the Falklands, or you might be getting a bit of stick, my friend.
No, but I mean, they can give me stick as well. And obviously, people say Huddersfield Town fans think we should walk the league. No, we shouldn't. Port Vale are bottom. They're fighting for their lives in for the League One against Darren Moore. Obviously we're playing Northampton are mid-table. You know what I mean? We are still in the conversation. We're 6 points, as you say, behind third place. So we're still in there, but we've got to be a little bit better. Season review, 8 out of 10.
Season 8 out of 10. Okay, I'm going to throw one back to you, Oliver, before I throw it. I'm going to throw it to our viewers as well. So Oliver says he's quite happy to keep Lee Grant in, get him till January, bring some players in with a new director of football. Okay, so Oliver and listeners, viewers, get your comments in. Where do Town need to strengthen then?
For me, defensively, absolutely. I would say we've got the players in front. We've got the players that are able to get up there, but defensively, we seem to be leaking a few. And then we seem to be leaking quite a few, which is not good.
So that's defensively. You believe that Town are leaking goals, but is that directly from goalkeepers, fullbacks, centre halves? Is it coming from midfield? Where is it that you think Town need the help? Because if you look through it, you've got 2 number ones, Owen Goodman, Lee Nichols. Yeah. You've got Championship and Premier League experience in Lyndon Gooch, and then Sorensen, who was arguably one of the best right backs in the league at Lincoln. You've got Watmore, Championship experience, Joe Lowe, one of the best centre halves in the league last year. Feeney, he's been playing superbly. Murray Wallace has been around in the Championship. Balker, arguably with his feet, best technical centre half in the league. You've got Ruskin, again, possibly one of the best left backs in the league, with Ruin right behind him. So that's not bad individually in that defence.
Well, good last word there. Individually, these are good players, very good players. Sorry, individually, but for some odd reason, again, what I said earlier in the Rotherham goal, but it's not for the first time. There's been plenty of times where we've had 5-4-3 around one player, and they managed to get the shot away. And the managers to get a goal. You don't know. We just seem to leak them goals. The goalkeepers, no problem. I think Nichols and Goodman are challenging each other and doing quite well for that number 1 jersey. But yeah, individually they seem to have that caliber of players. In terms, Joe Lowe, I'm a big fan of him, but as Steve says, he's quite inconsistent. One game is absolutely incredible. The next game, where is it? So. We need someone in there to maybe a leader, maybe another captain. I don't know. Just it doesn't seem to be working as well as we should have been.
Steve, I've already Jed. I've seen your comment. I knew that will come in before you even put it. But Steve, same question to you. If Oliver's right and the club stick with Lee and give him the opportunity with Chris Markham to bring some players in January, where do you strengthen?
I've answered this question a few times in the last few weeks, actually, and I think we ideologically disagree, my friend, on this. But I will get 3 wingers and a big nasty centre forward in, like a Wootton at Stockport. That's why.
Like a Jordan Hugill.
Well, no, better than him, but yeah, that type. I just feel, but definitely the wing positions. We need it. we haven't got the ability to change. All right, he's changed formation a number of times, but we haven't, because we haven't got the wingers. We've only got Arnott and Ashia really as proper wingers. I mean, you could count Ruskin and Miller, but one's injured.
Ruskin isn't a winger.
You what?
Ruskin isn't a winger.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. He can play there, and we have seen him play there. Is he the best there? No. But is Leo Castledine the best there? No. Is Ben Wiles? No. So my point is, really, your only two natural wingers are Harness and Ashia. One is tending to play in centre midfield at the moment, and one's a young lad on the bench who only gets, the odd minute here and there. So we need wingers. I think we need wingers. Have I been totally impressed with Ledson? As you can imagine, no. Although he played all right yesterday. Do I think we've got a weak midfield? Yes. I think it would have been stronger if Kasumu would have been fitter, to be honest, and less injured. But of course, we know since we've signed him, that's not always the case. The one thing that a lot of the teams above us have is a very strong midfield. So that's where I'm not as worried about the defence as you've gone through the players. And I agree slightly what Oliver said about individuality, but it's whether they've played in the right system and whether they've been told to do the right thing. If you're asking Jack Watmore and Murray Wallace to play, really creative passes into midfield, they're not going to do it either. But if they're going to get the ball forward and, strike balls into the wing positions, into the full-backs and get the ball forward quicker, then yes, they can do that. So it's all about the style that they're asked to play, not them as players, because I think they're good enough. Listen, they've played at a higher level. So yeah, that's where I would strengthen, Kane. I think the wing positions definitely, and the midfield. I'd like to see a really dominating midfielder coming, plus a big man if we can. But we're not going to do all that because we don't really spend much in January, so we might get a kid on loan from Aston Villa.
Well, I agree with Dale here. Back to you, Steve. All depends on the formation. Still favours a 4-2-3-1, which arguably probably it's not necessarily always like that. Sometimes it is a bit like that, Dale. We definitely need quick wingers. But if he sticks with the formation that he's playing now, Steve, wingers you don't have wingers.
No, but what we lack is all right. Went all right yesterday, but when he has used his formation in the past, he hasn't been able to change it because he doesn't have the creative people on the bench to do it. He's had strikers on the bench, but they're not wingers. They're not creative, wiry wingers that we used to have at the club. A Van La Parra or even Mustafa Carriol, if anybody remembers him. He wasn't the best player in the world, don't get me wrong, and I've seen his smile, Kane. But, he's that type of player, wiry winger that can get to the byline and put a cross in. And we don't have that by Camacho and slightly Harness.
So what you're saying is basically that Town need more wingers so they can change up the formations a little bit better, rather than sticking Castledine and Wiles on the wing.
Yeah, correct. Because it don't work, does it? We've seen, it works in certain situations against certain teams, probably against teams that sit backs, a la what we're going to come up against in the next two games. But it definitely don't work when you're playing a more progressive side, such as a Stockport, a Cardiff, a Bradford City, etc.
Sound. Well, gents, we're going to look at the next two games because we're not too sure when we're coming on yet. We've all got to decide that over Christmas. When we're next going to be on, because I think Steve's unavailable on the 28th, which is, I believe, the next Sunday. So we might just do it, Oliver. We'll forget Steve. But all I'm saying is we don't know.
That's right. Crack on, man.
Yeah. And Steve, you'll obviously want to do a bit of a review of 2025. So we'll come back to a date with that one. Also, just seen this one from John. He says, I've thought all season that midfield is our biggest problem. I think we miss Kane, Ledson. We miss Kane. Ledson and Harness both being generally poor. I think Harness, since going into into the central of the park, has been a lot better. That's my opinion. And Jed also mentioned about a leader, but Jed, we already knew you were going to say that anyway.
But it's just to follow on from that, because I was just having to think about it. Like, we had a Schindler, we had an Aaron Moy, we had Carl Grant, he was a goal scorer. You know what I mean? The characters, Schindler was a leader. He was a captain. He was able to control them at the back. And unfortunately, we did quite well. I mean, maybe that's what I kind of mean. That's what we kind of need. We need someone like that to get them all in. And it's Jolo's chance, but, that's what we need. We need a Schindler or a Moy who was incredible, who manages to play from the back. You know what I mean? That was the kind of...
So we need to find some world-class talent out there that nobody else has got.
Well, that's what we've done before. Where did Schindler come from? Where did Moy come from? You know what I mean?
But to be fair, right? So right. Okay, Oliver. The thing is, right. Moy came from Man City's academy in a sense because he played up in Scotland, right? So everybody on the planet knew about Aaron Moy because he was in the Australia team. Schindler, I agree, came out of nowhere. But the thing about Christopher Schindler is he was a god. You don't get centre backs like Christopher Schindler every weekend. And especially not in League One. It don't happen. Like, to be honest, if Radinho Bolka wasn't injured every 30 seconds, he won't be playing for us either because he's too good of a centre back. So the best that we can hope for is a Murray Wallace or a Joe Lowe. I think what you're saying about leadership is Murray Wallace is that leader, isn't he? That's the and Jack Watmore as well, that's played at Preston for many a year. The trouble is Jack's got a terrible injury. Murray's had injuries this season. It's just a typical Huddersfield Town thing that they're all bloody injured.
I agree with Schindler being a god, definitely. But when you say Aaron Moy, everyone knew about him. Like, there's hundreds of academy players in League One and League Two, and in the National League, and loads of them don't do well. Moy did incredible.
But there's not many that are Australian internationals, mate, that have played at World Cups that are just sat in Man City's academy ready to roll out.
He only became that because of Huddersfield, though.
He was playing for Australia before he played for Town. Anyway, look, we can go on about the glory days.
Yeah, of course.
As much as we can, right? I get that. And I love to talk about Christopher Schindler and Aaron Moy, because although it's not my bedtime yet, I usually think about them too when I'm going off to sleep. I usually have good dreams then.
We thought that is good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, game coming up this week. Port Vale at home, Boxing Day. It's a must win. It is a must win. Result, yes, but it's a game where there should be a performance and there should be a result to follow as well, Oliver.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I said it earlier. We have to beat Port Vale. They're bottom of the table, one of the not weaker sides, one of the sides that are fighting for their lives in League One. I think it's 8 points adrift or something. They're a long way away at the foot of the table. We have to win. And Darren Moore's back as well. I mean, he might have a bit of maybe try and go for a redemption arc. I don't know, but yeah, it's a must win.
And Steve, we know how bad Darren Moore's sides are in League One. So, is it going to be an easy one? Are they another crap team in your opinion?
Yeah, they're another crap team. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry to say, but they are. And we know how Darren Moore he's going to come and set up as well. It's going to be 5 at back, 3. I mean, that's going to be interesting, isn't it, Kane? If we know exactly how Darren Moore's going to come, they're going to play 5 at back. They're going to play 3 in midfield, or even 4 in midfield, and either 2 or 1 up top. That's his system. That's why he got sacked from us, because it was crap football. Just anybody wants to argue about me on that, it was rubbish, right? So it's going to be really interesting to see how Lee Grant goes about it, because I'd quite like it if he didn't go 5 at back, to be absolutely honest. I know it worked at Rotherham, but let's not go 5 at back at home. Let's go at Port Vale, because they aren't going to come at us. They're going to sit in and go, let's get a point here. They will not want to come up to us and want to try and go for 3 points. It's going to be a Burton Albion. That's what it probably with less quality than Burton, because Burton have got a few tidy players about them. So it's a must win. If we don't win it, I mean, I know this is really bullish, but we need to beat them by two goals at least. I mean, they're not good. They're really not good.
Okay, and if we don't come on after that game before the Northampton game, because it's tight turnaround. Same again, Steve. Is it a case of Town should be going and performing well and winning, despite the fact that they only got the draw down there a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit more different with Northampton in it because they are 15th, I think 16th in the league, so they have got a bit more about them. Tom Eaves is the devil for our centre backs. I mean, he is Jordan Hugo, but probably 2 levels up. You got double A batteries inside him, so he'll be definitely up for it if he does play. But again, we need to win. We're at home. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't be winning. I do not want to hear in this press conference coming up about these 2 games about the pressure of playing in front of an home crowd. Don't talk to me about that crap. Go out, play football, do your jobs and win.
Right. So if there is any Huddersfield Town players listening and watching, don't take that crap.
Don't be nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. You're playing against bottom of the league. What Oliver just said, 8 points adrift or whatever they are rubbish, right? But then going to play Northampton, a little bit tougher. But if you want to get promoted, and you're saying, not you, but you're saying as a group of players, we know we can be better. We want to be at the top end of this division, battling for promotion. You have to go beat Northampton. You have to.
I think what I would say on top of that, Steve and Oliver, this will be something for you to see in the next couple of games when you're over here. But when Town perform and they are at it, the fans back them, and it's very clear that the Town fans back him, right, Steve?
Oh yeah. When we see a performance, I mean, the 1,800 fans that were at Rotherham backed them. That's all you could hear. Our lads and lasses singing from the stands very proudly. It was a shame, and I thought this was a shame at Mansfield. Actually, we didn't score a goal in front of our fans, and again at Rotherham, that was disappointing because I would have loved to have seen that. But when we are as a fan base, when we get behind them and they give us something on the pitch, it's a beautiful connection. The problem is we haven't had that for a lot of time this season or last season. And if we could see you in the next 2 home games, if we come out with 6 points, nobody's going to say, do you know what, sack Lee Grant to Bonner. Probably apart from maybe Terry and Nigel on Twitter, because, I mean, he thinks he's the worst guy since sliced bread. But apart from that, you know, the crowd will back the team. We will.
Yeah. If the players are performing well and working hard, they will see it. Oliver, what do you expect from the next 2 games? I think so we spoke about Port Vale, Northampton for you. Again, is it another situation where it's a game that Town should perform well and should score plenty of goals and win it? By the way, viewers, get your predictions in for the next 2 games. We'll go through them very shortly as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm coming back to the UK on Monday. Hopefully, everything goes well with the flight. So I'm already booked in to cover Port Vale and Northampton. So there'll be 2 great games to watch. I agree with Steve. Whenever I go to the Aku or the John Smith or Gull Farm, when I was doing the media back in the day, it was an incredible atmosphere when the team were playing well. You know, they were singing left, right. It is the will back the team, just to need to show the performances. Port Vale should be a win. I say should, delicately. Northampton a bit more cautious because they are a pretty decent side. I mean, they've beaten Huddersfield the past twice, I think, or is it 1 draw and 2 losses in the past 3 games? So it will be a bit more of a challenge. But yeah, Northampton, I would say this season are a decent League One standard team. So if we're having any ideas of trying to get up into the Championship, we should be really thinking about beating Northampton.
Yeah, 2 games at Town should really be winning. John says, get Bojan and Alfie up front. Let's batter Vale and get some feel-good factor back. Dale, Port Vale are worse than Rotherham, so we need to get it straight at them. Even if we get an early goal, there's no reason we can't get 4 or 5. Tell you what, I'm loving the positivity this evening. Bananas give the town, though, says Jed. Actually, Oliver, how is the banana supply down there in the Falklands? That's an interesting question. Jed, it's Cal, not Carl, but he can't make it this evening.
Trimming his beard.
Yeah, he's trimming his beard and he's helping the elves get ready for Santa coming up this week. James says, pivotal period for town. Do you think Grant stays even if we miss playoffs, lads? I maybe think he does. Now, I'm not too sure on that one, James, because you would argue that this year town have to go up. That's what it was last year. Didn't happen. They had to do it this year. And I don't think Mr. Nagel is too bothered about upsetting managers if they don't get the job done, because their job is to go get town up. So, it's a great question, James. He'll have to do a lot of talking to keep that job. If that was the case and he stayed and probably didn't make it into the playoffs, but I think that's still a long way to go. We've got to get through these next 2 games. Jed says the next 2 games will speak volumes about where we are going. And now it's time for some predictions, because we're nearly done an hour, and also Luke Little is about to start walking out and we want to watch the darts. So
what's more important,
guys? There's Huddersfield Town player playing. That's a side note, but anyway.
Charlie Mamba.
Yeah,
played well against Cameron Menzies the other day. Cameron Menzies still has a hurt hand, unfortunately. Anyway, I didn't like it that on TalkSport they thought he were a Leeds fan. Great to see him in his town shirt afterwards on Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Just take a look at his Instagram and you know he's not a Leeds fan. Come on.
Yeah, good journalism in that, isn't it? It's just about as good as ours.
Great journalism.
Anyway, okay. Dale says Town 4, Port Vale 0, Town 3, Northampton 1. And John says 4-0 Vale, 2-1 Northampton, 6 points there. I'm guessing that's in favour of Huddersfield, John, because I'm reading that you've got Town to lose twice, and that's not getting 6 points. So let us know on that one if you can. Okay, Oliver, predictions, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Huddersfield Town against Port Vale, and I'm going to go 2-1 Huddersfield against Northampton.
Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, Town 3, Port Vale 0, and then Town 2, Northampton 1, and that ultimately means that we'll get 6 points, but as in true Town fashion, we'll probably get 0. Probably get 0 points.
Right, okay, Steve, that we had such a positive show. I'm really glad you've ended it on that leveler for us all. So thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it.
Try to be realistic on the show. You know what I mean?
But as you know, Steve, it's going to be 3-1 and 3-1. So
well,
I don't know why,
obviously,
I don't know why there's any other scorelines out there, because it will just be 3-1 and 3-1. Jed says 3-0 Town, Port Vale, and 3-1 Town, Northampton. Are going to be there for the Port Vale game. So, Jed, I hope you enjoy that one as well. I know you're over from Australia. Really do appreciate you taking your time out to watch this one. As we appreciate everybody else, your comments are fantastic as always. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Comments are always brilliant. Steve and Oliver, hope you have a wonderful week. Oliver, safe trip over, and I will see you next week at the 2 games. Make sure you come and say hello. I'll be probably head down somewhere in my laptop, sorting some stuff out in the media room when you see me, or stuff in my face. More than likely stuff in my face if the food
last
is good.
Time that we got a barbel, didn't we? Last time for Christmas.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay.
Must have just been you. Can't have been me.
Right.
Quickly, Michael says Town 3, Port Vale 0, 1 apiece, Town and Port Vale. Okay, gents, have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful Christmas, as Jed said it as well. Great Xmas, boys. Have a wonderful holiday time, or whatever. Have a good Christmas, everyone. All right. See you later. Speak to you later, and we shall see you.